One of the most dangerous activities that each of us engages in daily is driving or riding in a motor vehicle. At the Greenwood Village Police Department, our highest priority is to ensure the safety of those who use the roadways in Greenwood Village. We are committed to improving traffic safety, but we can't do it alone. We must come together as a community. So let's listen as one of our members of the police department drives us through some very important rules of the road. The stats are real. Traffic crashes are rising. In 2015, an estimated 35,200 people died on our nation's roadways. That's a 7.7% increase from 2014. These numbers are not just numbers. They represent the lives of people taken away, families broken apart. We can make a difference. Let's start by improving your awareness of an important safety law called the Move Over Law.
We're involved in enforcement of the Move Over Law, which is that if an emergency vehicle is stopped on the side of the road, you need to move over one lane or slow way down for safety reasons. And how we are going to do that today is one of our officers will initiate a traffic stop for a violation up on the highway, generally at speed. And then when he goes out to make that stop, we will go out behind him and we will look for people who are not yielding or pulling over or slowing way down for his activity on the side of the road.
How are you doing today? Officer Voigt of the Greenwood Village. The reason I'm stopping you, sir, is, and you may not be aware of this, you're from New Mexico?
Yes, sir.
We have a law in the state of Colorado that if the emergency vehicles are on the side of the road, you need to move over a lane or slow way down for us,
yes,
okay? So that's why I'm stopping you. If everything works out okay with your paperwork, I intend just to give you a warning today.
Sounds great.
Do you have your license, registration, and insurance with you?
Yes, sir. So the Move Over Law, we've had since the mid-2000, probably around 2006, 2007 or so. And what that Move Over Law does is it requires people where you see them here on the freeway, whenever there's an emergency vehicle, tow truck, road service crew, anybody with a flashing light basically, whenever they're stopped on the side of the road, whether it be the left or the right, the motoring public is to move over at least one full lane away from those vehicles. And that basically creates a buffer zone for those vehicles so that if somebody's getting into the car, getting out of the car in a police situation, they get in a skirmish with a bad guy, there's room where they don't, the car doesn't come along and run them over. The other piece of it is people also have a habit of looking at what's going on the side of the road. Well, when they do that, they tend to just ever so slightly move their hands as well and drift toward the action that's on the side of the road. That is exactly what happened in Douglas County in November of 2016 that unfortunately cost Trooper Cody Donahue his life. So what happened is, specifically after Cody Donahue was hit in Douglas County, he was the third trooper to be killed on foot within a year. Really just kind of frustrated us at that point. We've known for quite a while that people have not been really taking the Move Over Law seriously. So Greenwood Village just decided, you know what, enough is enough. We need to start doing something to educate the public. So we started out, we contacted 5 other agencies around us. So we started with Denver, Greenwood Village, Lone Tree, Arapahoe County, and Douglas County. And we did a move over operation on a specific day in December, within about 2 weeks of Trooper Donahue being hit. What we saw is we had about 70% of the motoring public was not moving over for us. And so we decided, you know what, this is something we need to keep working on. Since then, we've spearheaded the campaign statewide. Our last iteration actually was just last week and we had 29 agencies plus the State Patrol, all of their troops participating in this operation. While I don't have the stats for that particular operation, the one we did in February, we had 26 agencies involved, and we made over 900 stops in that day, and had nearly 600 either warnings or citations for failing to move over for the emergency vehicles. There are two statutes that are involved, and it's actually Statute 705 in the state statutes, which requires you to move over that lane for the emergency or stop vehicle. However, when you fail to do so for a stationary vehicle, it kicks it into careless driving. So it's a 4-point careless driving summons that they receive. So if they can't move over, the law does allow for you to not move over, but you have to slow down significantly, and it says to a safe speed. As you can see with the speeds going by us here, that does not mean going by us at 55 miles an hour in a 65 mile an hour zone. If I should trip, if I should be pushed into traffic, there is no way that you can stop in time. So you have to significantly slow down to probably 30 miles an hour or less in order to be able to safely get by. Now, the way the law reads, and this is where it gets confusing for the people, is they think it's either or. I can move over or I can slow down. And that's not the way the law reads. It is you must move over. Only if it's impossible to move over can you then slow down and that be acceptable. You know, the big thing I want to point out is a lot of people are getting hung up on that this just applies to emergency vehicles, and it does not. It also applies to tow trucks and our road crews out there too. We have just as many road crew people that are getting killed every year as we do police officers. The subsection we've been talking about is subsection 2. Subsection 1 deals with when an approaching an emergency vehicle is coming. And we see this a lot. People pull over to the left and stop on the left shoulder. No, you're required to pull over to the right. If everybody does their job and pulls over to the right, that gives us the left lane to get by and get in an expedient manner to the emergency that we're going to. We've been doing this now for 4 months. We have seen a good amount of success. We have not just been doing enforcement. We realize that enforcement might not necessarily be the best way to educate people. We want to educate them and get them understanding why this is so important. So we've been writing a lot of warnings. These signs that we have up, the variable message board signs, I'm sure that the people have seen the move over law information on those signs. We've had the media has been cooperating with us, getting the story out. And since we've been doing this, we've seen the numbers about flip. So when we started this, we had about 70% of the people not moving over. Now it's down to about 30% of the people not moving over.
Your behavior behind the wheel determines the fate of your life, your passengers and the other motorists sharing the road. So what do you do inside your vehicle while you drive? We see it. It's called distracted driving. And the scary thing is, people are doing it all the time.
I think people are using their cell phones or being distracted while driving for many different reasons. Whether it's impatience, they have to send out that text right now or do what they need to do right now, or boredom, they're at a red light, they have what they think a couple minutes to spare, they'll check their Facebook, they'll check their apps. There's many different reasons why people are using their cell phones while driving. Distracted driving is important to the police department because there's been an increase of accidents related to people who are distracted while driving. A lot of fender benders are occurring due to distracted driving because people are not observing what's happening around them because their head is down and looking at something else other than up and paying attention to what's going on around in their surrounding areas.
Okay, go.
She's putting on mascara.
10-11.
Makeup is quality.
313, Cruiser 3. Did you get a hold of social service?
She's talking to them now.
Can you slow down for me a little next time?
Sorry, I'm just late for this, but I'm slowing down.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. I think there's a lot of reasons people are doing it while they're driving. Impatience. They have to send out that text right now. Probably maybe some people are bored with driving, so they'll be at a red light and they'll just be like, oh, nothing going on here. I'll preoccupy my time with this. They're busy, so they have to get stuff done, they feel like, and driving's when they feel like they have to do it. There's many different reasons why I think people do it. What people can do to not be distracted is put their cell phones down while driving. And there's actually programs in cell phones nowadays where if someone texts you while you're driving, it'll send them an automatic reply text back that says, I'm currently driving and I cannot get back to you at this moment, and I will reply to you when I'm not currently driving. So there's programs out there that help people reply back while they're driving without replying back. But people mostly just need to put down the distractions and drive. A lot of people I pull over inform me that they're using their cell phone to get a map up to try to find where they're going. And I always tell people a couple of tips are to put the location in before you leave your destination. You want to know where you're going before you leave. And then so that way you don't have to worry about it while you're driving. And then to also get a dash mounted cell phone holder that can be used while you're driving, so that way it's out of your hands and still visible for maps.
Have you ever zipped over the speed limit or glided past a stop sign when no one's around? When it comes to obeying traffic laws, data shows that motorists violate traffic laws all the time. Whether they bend or flat out ignore traffic regulations, it's a growing concern that is causing traffic accidents.
Well, today I'm looking at speed. You know, the corridors here, Bellevue, Orchard, Arapahoe Road, specifically targeting Arapahoe Road, mainly because of the construction zone and the safety there for the workers in that area along Arapahoe Road and I-25. It's just a huge safety issue for those folks. We've got vehicle traffic. We try to keep that in rein, and then you've got pedestrians who want to cross the roadways, but not specifically at crosswalks, which is a liability for them. And then you've got the bicyclists who tend to ignore some of the rules of the roadway. They think that they could just go to the traffic light, stop, and proceed through, when in fact they are part of the roadway and the traveling public, and they're considered a traffic unit in the state of Colorado. So if they're in the roadway, they must abide by the rules of the roadway also. So we're trying to get that all synchronized if we can. We know we'll never totally get it to that point, but if we can save a life or an injury, that's our perspective out here to try to do.
Vehicle got off on Arapahoe Road, unknown direction on Arapahoe. It is a white Honda Accord, license plate 233, Queen Ida Edwards. Again, 233, Queen Ida Edwards. Vehicle swerves across 4 lanes of traffic, cutting off other drivers. The vehicle does register back to 10087 East Peak 2 Avenue.
We'll head up to Arapahoe Road here and head towards the highway. Hopefully we'll at least see which direction he's going if we can't find him or get to him.
We've seen a lot more speeding, especially due to the construction zone and the reduced speed limit, as well as texting and driving. That's a lot of what we're going to be looking for on some of the main roads, Arapahoe, Bellevue, Orchard as well. There's a lot of people using their phones while they're driving. We're also seeing a lot of issues with the new businesses coming into town. A lot of people jaywalking, like Fiddler's Green Circle up here. A lot crossing Arapahoe where they shouldn't be, in the middle of the construction zone. Oftentimes it's real hard to see them while they're jumping construction barriers to cross the road. Day to day, our main emphasis, we have 2 main emphases. First is to take traffic accidents when they occur, and the second is to make a good presence, be visible in our high traffic areas in an attempt to reduce accidents and improve traffic safety. In construction zones in particular, be very cognizant of the signage. A lot of people are making turns where they shouldn't. Be cognizant of the speed limits in particular, just because on, say, Arapahoe Road, we do have a lot of people crossing the road where they shouldn't be, and it's up to both pedestrians and the drivers to make sure that no one's getting injured, no one's getting hurt in an accident.
One of the problem areas that we're going to look at shortly here is westbound Orchard approaching Quebec. And we've improved the signage, and the problem exists is that when we're approaching Quebec on Orchard, in the left, what we call our number 1 lane out of 2 lanes, that lane automatically turns into 2 left turn lanes. So people get in that lane and they go, well, I don't want to be here. I want to move over into the through lane and proceed westbound on Orchard. Well, when they do that, they're in a restricted lane with a solid white line, which means you can't cross over. As we all know, they do. And when they do that, they create obstructions for the drivers that are in that second lane, which we call lane 2, which is the through lane. Then we get rear end accidents, we get side swipe accidents, and we get red light violations, and that endangers, again, the pedestrian population and the bicyclist population too, while they're using the roadway. So what we're talking about is a lane designated violation. You're designated to turn left, you're in that lane, people aren't doing that, and they're trying to get over to the right through lane. By doing that, you're violating the lane restriction law.
Addressing traffic safety is an important directive we take very seriously. In addition to enforcement and education, traffic growth and volumes are actively monitored, and our traffic light system is always being assessed and refined. Accident history is evaluated to see what things we can do to prevent future accidents and look for ways to make our roads even safer. But we need you as a community partner. Please take the time to slow down, do not text and drive, and always wear your seatbelts. We also want you to call 911 when you may witness other motorists driving unsafe. Together we can make a difference and make our city safer. Thank you, and please buckle up.